Guiding your next pop culture journey, this is In Quest of Geek.
The tavern is always the beginning of a quest. It's where the team can come together to focus on introduction, speculation, and adventure. It's your chance to learn about your favorite fandoms or discover something new. This is our Tavern Team.
With you in the tavern will be
Alix Catherine, your host and professional moderator.
Nathan, nerd analyst and examiner.
And Cole, your personal geek color commentator.
So pull up your personal character sheet and get ready to level up, because we're here to build better character.
Welcome to the Tavern Team. Grab a chair and join the crew. Tonight's quest, we have a silent voice. So I'm also going to say grab a box of tissues.
Grab a box of tissues and get ready for some spoiler warnings and just some trigger warnings, because this has it all. Jesus.
Yeah, just wrap your head in some paper towels. Save yourself some time.
I'm sorry.
This is okay. So for everyone at home, this is how Alix told us about this anime movie. It's about a young woman who is hard of hearing or is deaf, and it's just the struggles that she goes through. So that's the movie I expected. That's what we watched. That was like a fraction, like 1/8 of what we watched.
Alex, have you already seen this before?
So I had seen about the first 20 minutes.
Oh man, then you knew what you were doing to us. You knew. You knew.
With a mutual friend who recommended it. I didn't know because the first 20 minutes has exactly what I told you.
No, this is the beginning. The opening with the bridge.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a big deal until you saw the end.
It was a bit. Wait. Whoa. How did you not know what that bridge meant?
No. Okay. So I knew full spoilers. Yeah, we're just gonna jump into this. I knew he was gonna not kill himself, right? Because I'd seen the first 20 minutes. So I already knew he survives.
It's anime. For all we know, he's falling for 2 hours straight. Yeah. I don't know he's gonna survive.
But he survived.
We know that now.
So I was right.
But when he starts and he goes on the bridge, I'm in my room just going, what's happening? Like, this is how it starts.
Alix, you're sitting there watching this kid not commit suicide, which you're going like, that's the first 10 minutes of the movie. It's just gonna get more intense as you go along.
Better from here. Better is what we were. Yeah. Well, let's start by explaining what this film is now that we have a better idea. Because legitimately on IMDb, it explains it as a young man is ostracized by his classmates after he bullies a deaf girl to the point where she moves away. Years later, he sets off on a path for redemption.
That is a very missing, like, not. It is the frosting to the cake of what happens, of the kind of emotional turmoil.
So that's what I was going off of. Between that and the first 20 minutes, things were gonna get better.
And like when I say, and we should clarify, like better as in like emotionally less turbulence. It is a very, very good anime.
It's incredible.
Immediately, it's very well made. It's very good at what it wants to do, which is hurt you, make you remember everything you've ever done that hurt anybody.
Oh man, I don't think I had dry eyes for longer than 20 minutes. I think it would be because the opening. I'm not gonna lie, the opening. That we are getting ahead of ourselves. I'm sorry, Alix. You wanted to talk about what this is.
Yes, yeah. I think we should explain to people what the film is now that we have a better idea.
Okay.
So, who wants to try and do like a nice little wrap-up recap of this film?
All right. Let's see. This is a film about contemplation on the very concept of redemption and what guilt can do to you if left unchecked. What just communication with other people. It's a very strong, in-depth look at just can you be a better person? And it really does delve into that, and also to hold other people accountable for everything that they do. And there's a lot of it's a lot about guilt, a lot about redemption, a lot about
I'd say growing up.
I mean, growing up. Yeah, growing up. Like, do you keep beating the crap out of a little kid that you were, and what kind of adult do you want to become? And it's a lot of that kind of stuff. And while also introducing, a deaf character in an anime, which is I've honestly never heard of it at this point. I don't know if there's more history to that.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I expected this to be a little more similar to Slice of Life.
Yeah, maybe more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of those are your usual expectations going into an anime. Like Japanese culture has very strong emotional kind of stories and stuff. And you think this one would also be kind of broken up a little more lightheartedness. And it's like there's moments of comedy. There definitely are moments of just like, a little bit of lightheartedness, but that is not the point of this anime.
Guys, no, not even close to the point of it.
That was a great way to explain it. And I think we should kind of focus on the characters and their storyline. If that makes sense. Because I think although they intertwine and they interact, they kind of all have their own path or journey.
Okay.
You guys okay with that way?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is about characters. It is about different people and how everyone kind of looks at redemption and kind of blame and all these things differently. That's the constant. I mean, we have probably like 6 or 7 different characters looking at the same thing and seeing something completely different.
So we should probably start with our main character, which is Ashita.
Shoya Ashita. Oh yeah, I guess just for the audience, I don't know how to pronounce the names very well.
Same.
I want to apologize to possibly an entire culture ahead of time. We're trying our best.
Please know or understand that nothing we say is going to be in a mocking fashion. Our intent is not to make fun of. We just suck as people and struggle phonetically.
Major suckage.
Yeah,
definitely major suckage.
And I'll also say that I watched this subbed on Netflix.
I watched dub.
Oh, interesting.
On Netflix? No one's
surprised. On Netflix, yes.
That's cool. Then you had a different you saw it in a different way.
Different voice cast.
Yeah.
Nate, what was your logic for watching it?
My logic for watching it? Oh, subbed. Yes. Like my logic for watching because you told me to, boss. My logic for watching it subbed is it helped for a little bit of kind of immersion. It's cool to hear the Japanese language, hear the inflections, and just that's kind of fun for me. And I read pretty fast, so it helps a lot. I'm just kind of glancing through it, and then just kind of after a while. That's the cool thing about subbed. If you're reading fast enough, you almost start understanding it in a way it's just an interesting immersion factor. I like the most. What about you?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So for me, because I watched it sub too. I had two reasons for it. One, I had a feeling Cole would watch dubbed, and I didn't know which one you were going to do, and so I thought it would be cool to at least have one person watch it subbed.
Yeah.
And the other reason was I just thought since it's about somebody who's deaf, and part of deaf culture is always fighting for subtitles, I was going to respect it in its originality and watch it. And I usually watch my animes dubbed just because I'm doing 5 million things at once. Emails and God knows what else. So I was like, I'm going to put all my attention on this, but if I'm going to put all my attention onto it, the only way I'm going to keep focused is subbed. If it's dubbed, I'm going to go back to my phone. Yeah. So I think it was a respect thing, but it was also to keep me on track thing.
Fair enough.
For me, like, I always do dub because I love looking at the background stuff. I love trying to see subtle things. And I'm one of those who watch the movie and try solving it before the movie's over. And when I subtitles, I just can't do that. I'm reading it and then seeing it, or I miss something and then I have to go back. Like I understand everyone keeps saying like the more you watch subtitles, the easier it gets. But I'm like, if there's a dub version, I would 100% would rather do dub.
Okay, so you'd be able to scan the images, these beautifully drawn animes. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And like especially when something like this, I'm very grateful that I was able to understand the language because there were so many moments where the voice cast for the dub did such a great job where I was just like drawn into like all the like the way they were bringing these characters to life.
This might be one if I love hate myself enough, I think I might go back and watch it dubbed just to hear the difference in the acting.
Yeah.
But I was still in it. I mean, I was like heart pumping.
Oh, yeah.
At one point I like realized I had been holding on to Jason's wrist for like 10 minutes because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then when I finally let go, it took me about 2 minutes before I had to grab back on because I was like, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So let's go into the characters and then people can figure out what in the world we're talking about. With Shoya Ishida?
Yeah.
I mean that's
my. I mean, I
your guess
agree.
is mine.
Yeah, I agree to continue because we're just gonna sit here and not.
Cole, yeah. I'll let you start this character's story off.
Oh man! All right, so this character you start off hating. You see him as a little boy, and he is just bullying this new girl. The new girl. It's Zuri. I believe is they call shoot. No, they call her
Shoko. Yeah.
Shoko
Nishimiya.
Thank you. Oh, I was looking at the best friend. Thank you. That's why it got really confused for me for a second.
No,
sorry. I was like, no, how is this name here? The nickname was because there's 2 shows. But anyway, like he's just like bullied beyond belief, and it's really like you really hate Toya, and then you discover that the kid is actually the one who we see on the bridge in the beginning of this movie, and then he starts doing the redemption stuff. But the thing that's interesting about him is because he made that mistake as a kid, and then everyone started ignoring him, saying he was a horrible person, he started believing it himself. And the way they drew this to show that he was disconnecting from the world was they put X's on everyone's face because he wouldn't make eye contact because he didn't want to look people in the eyes. There's so many depth reasonings for that. And
yeah, so it's a big disconnect from the world. We see him start to get bullied by the same people that were his friends when he was the bully. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of similar imagery where what he was doing to her, they start doing to him. And the person we see on the bridge, although I thought it was an adult, is really just a high school kid. And we started this in the 6th grade. So it has been some time, but not a lot of time.
Yeah, I think it was roughly 5 years.
And his mom, I don't know what's up with his mom, but he like his home life is a little interesting too. But the imagery of the X's was just, to me, was brilliant because anytime someone got close to him, the X would fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And anytime throughout this movie that he'd climb back up, all the X's appeared. And that is one of the most emotional scenes when he's happy at the fair and all the X's start falling off. But then he messes something. I forget who messes it up.
Yeah.
But then all the X's appear and he just clamps hard. Oh, that hurt my soul.
Yeah, it's like all those connections he's making, he's now being just taken out.
Yeah,
because a lot of self-loathing that he's dealing with too.
Yeah, definitely self-loathing, and definitely like going back to, like, even though it's not healthy, it's easier to shut people out than to admit, like, try and grow. which
Well,
is
and
what
a lot of
Vincent
what we
does.
see is deserve. He kept using the
No.
word deserve. I don't deserve to
Mhm.
be happy. I don't deserve these friends. I don't deserve to be alive.
Right.
And it really stems into the depression from, when he was bullying her. He knew it was wrong. You could,
Yeah.
to me, I feel like you could tell, but he was trying to be included or impressive. I'm not really sure which.
It was trying to impress the friend group. It's trying to get noticed, its attention, and it definitely backfires on him, as it should.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe not to this
Yeah.
extreme, but it comes down to a lot of worthiness. Am I worthy of being here alive? And that really crosses over to me with, I would say, also the other main character, which is
Shoko
Shoko.
Nishimiya.
Yes, who is our bullied deaf girl. And Nathan, did you want to kind of go into her story?
Yeah. So Shoko is a deaf girl, and she gets to grow up with that. And that is if the old adage of boy, children are cruel, it
Yeah.
really comes into play, like hardcore in her life. And it's because it's such a thing that she can't escape. You can't just not be deaf one day with just magic. It's even when she tries, even when she gets hearing aids and these things, you can see how it haunts her, and how the kids around her make it very clear that they never really accept her. Like Shoya, he's the main culprit. But what I really liked was that, like, as we move along, we're seeing like, no. This is it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a bunch of punk jerks to hurt a child.
Yeah.
And it's all I like that in a way they're kind of building up to, like, Shoya's gonna get everyone to kind of pay attention to the fact that they hurt her too. And quiet in silence, while someone is being hurt, is just as bad as hurting them. And like that's so Shoka is this poor is a person who's trying very hard to to fit in to to elementary school, to just any school, to any people really.
The
And
Notebook scene.
the notebook scene, just constantly reaching out to people and having some people not even have to be mean, they're just casually ignoring her. They're casually just pushing her aside as the girl. It's too much effort. Like there's also this whole thing of it's just too much effort to be your friend. You have to put so much work, and that's kind of beyond very selfish children to make. And she,
sorry, go ahead.
and it burns in her and it hurts her to the point where she's like, the factor. It comes down to really cold, sad math. Is the problem that always comes up is because of her, and she starts internalizing that more and more and more, and she gets proven right by really crappy people doing crappy things, and being hurt, and the people she does love get hurt, indirectly by her disability, and she starts to blame the only thing she can really control, herself. So she internalizes a lot of it, and you can see it's just taken so much out of her, but she still smiles in the face of adversity, which is a usual kind of almost a Japanese cultural thing, is to smile at the pain, to smile at the things that are causing you pain. And you can see that she's tries to rise up above it. But I mean, that kind of trauma with no real end in sight is, it takes a toll.
I took the smile as the mask she wore.
Yeah.
Because as you watch this movie, she starts slowly opening up to Shoya. Because when he starts trying to redeem himself and trying to be her friend, she does open up and talk, but it freaks him out because instead of being silent and signing and using the phone and stuff, she's animated, she's talking. And I will admit, it felt, just because she was so quiet for so long, that when she did speak, it felt like shouting.
Yeah.
And a little bit it is, because it's hard for somebody who's deaf to fully gauge their levels.
Oh, I mean, I can hear fine, and I can't gauge my levels either. So I'm not going to judge at all in that sense. But
you yell all the time.
I yell all the time.
Stop yelling.
Yelling's my base. I can't. Oh God. But yeah, so like that scene, and then you could see her. She just clumps back up, and she puts a smile on. So for me, that's what the smiling was just put on a smiling face, but internalize all the pain.
Well, one of the things, first of all, I'm going to back up for a second. The Notebook, just for people who haven't seen it and are just listening and just want to hear it all, is her way of communicating with people. She introduces it when she introduces herself. She has pre-written stuff on there. This is my name. I'm deaf. Please, to communicate with me, use this notebook. And it was her way of not only understanding what somebody's saying to her, but for other people to understand what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that was her accessibility. That was her access into the world. The other thing that I think is really important as we're talking about this is I think her smile is the version of the X that we're talking about. We saw his externalized and we're seeing hers internalized.
Oh, snap. I never caught that. That's, ooh. Oh, that makes it worse.
Yes.
Because we knew from the beginning he was struggling. We know from the beginning that he's trying to kill himself. And this is him figuring out, okay, if I'm not going to die, how am I going to live?
Yeah.
So for his story, we're starting at one point. We don't know, again, spoilers for this whole thing, but we don't know until we get to close to the end that she was at the beginning of this, before the bridge, emotion-wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had no idea. I had no idea that she was going to try to kill herself. Like, didn't cross my mind. Never saw it coming. Just...
Well, that's also for a lot of people who are experiencing that level of depression, sadness. A lot of people they didn't know until it happens.
And then they wish they could go back and do something, or if they had said something. And
mm-hmm. The fireworks scene I thought was going to be the classic. I like fireworks because like the ground shook because they were so close.
Yeah.
That she's like, I don't need to hear it because I could feel it. That's what I was expecting.
She closed her eyes,
mm-hmm.
put her hand on her chest. We had that moment.
And then she gets up. Because you can also think that this is the happiest this was her carnival.
Mm-hmm.
This is the happiest she's ever been. The person she loves is with their family. Her mom is accepting of them. They're all hanging out together on her favorite the favorite holiday. And was it a holiday or was it just a celebration?
Well, I think a celebration is something.
Yeah, I'm not sure it ever specified.
And so that's, if you're gonna go out on a high note.
Go out and bang.
And then I think it was a mix of, this might be the happiest I'm ever gonna be, and the same guilt we saw from him. I don't deserve to be having this happiness.
Right.
And I think guilt took over. Just my personal.
I mean, I'm sure you're close, if not on.
It's another thing. It's another scenario of that. We're all looking at the same thing, and we're seeing very different things. I'm watching that going like, oh, cool. She feels the fireworks. She can be happy. She can be normal. And and that very thought right there is normal. Then she stops being normal, and she stops being happy in this moment, and then you can see that like, oh, she's like, if this is the happiest, I want to end happy, not the rest of my life as a fake smile through it.
As the scene continues, though, where since he did at the beginning of the film, we know that he already knows the steps, what's going to happen. And when he sees her on the balcony and he sprints, I thought he was going to fail when he tripped. I 100% in my room, holding my knees, just seeing him on the floor. I'm like, get up! Yeah. Get up, you piece of shit! Sorry, Anthony. Get up!
Yeah, I for sure thought that was,
Get up, jump through that window. I don't care what you're doing. Glass and all. I don't care. Get over there. And he does make it.
He does.
Yeah. At a cost.
Oh, God. And then I thought, okay, so we had a moment where we thought that, because you know how the sister, which we still have to get into, but the sister dreamed about the grandma's death?
Yeah.
So there was a moment where she was praying to the fish, which koi fish are meant to be magical.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it seemed like in that moment he had died. And I was like, oh my gosh, JPG and I were like, what if he died and like she's seeing him and getting to say goodbye before he goes.
Mm.
I like how we found scenarios to make it more painful. Oh my god.
Did I mention how sorry I am?
So when he falls in the water, I first thought was, oh, thank God he fell in water. Oh, he's gonna be red blood starts showing up. Nope.
I'm like, how hard is that water?
Yeah. But
Now,
oh man,
we should probably go into, would you like to start with his family or her family? Because there's two different family dynamics to look at.
Yeah.
Let's stick with her family. Just because the movie does end with him, and I think that would be a nice little transition.
So she has a younger sister.
Who we don't know is a younger sister. And when we first see her on screen, they go, it's a young boy. And I was just like, that's a boy?
What?
Okay, you know what? F it. Here we go. Let's do this.
And then it's not.
Yeah, no. But I mean, he does, like, the sister does, for everyone at home, the way she introduces herself as the boyfriend to Shoko. So, like, you're just accepting it. Especially because she's so not possessive, but like protective.
Oh my gosh, she's not here. But I can see her. She's right there. She's not here. That's like one of my favorite moments because it's just so like it's just not gonna happen, and there's no change. There's no excuses. Just she's not here.
Yeah.
As far as you're concerned, Buster, she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're being protective of this of your sister.
Well, because like the family knows him. The mom hates him.
Yeah.
This is the same boy that probably made, like, I don't know if they have counseling in Japan, but like probably made her go to get counseling. Like this, they changed schools because of him.
Well, and the hearing aids that he tossed aside, he ended up paying his mom back. I think it was $1,700,000 or something insane like that. So just think about
Japanese exchange rate's a little different.
I was gonna ask because he earned the money back. I'm like, how did he because she's like, I'm gonna burn it, and I was like, that's a lot. Like to me, that sounds like a lot. Maybe
but
not.
I think it's if you're talking about your child, life or death.
You're
get
like,
it right.
Yeah,
it's not the money; it's your life. It's you physically being here with me.
Which I understood, but then she just stood there and accidentally burnt the $1 million.
It's hard. Big emotional outbursts are not easily the best thing to plan. You're just like, here's fire. I'm just gonna. Oh crap.
Oh man, when she tricked him into that's the wrong family. Sorry. Anyway, sister.
I gave you the choice.
Yeah,
Yuzuru Nishimiya.
So sister, it's kind of interesting because her sister is very protective of her. We get to see through her a different side of depression.
Yeah. With
her photographs and if this didn't make you cry. So we see that she just has walls covered with dead animals.
Yeah, pictures of death.
And it's strange. And then you know that she kind of forms a connection with him before she allows Ishida to have a connection with her sister, right?
Yeah, she's vetting them out.
Yeah, she scopes it out. And, okay. And she kind of actually, to me, bonds with the family, which I thought is special because she gets to see the other side of him.
Yeah, because at that point, she's like, you were the bully that was a total jerk to my sister. Why should I even talk to you? And he shows some signs of kindness, and then he sees on his side that he has a family. They don't hate him. So there must be something going on, right?
Well, he was very doting to his little sister. Yeah. He was helping his mom.
Niece.
Oh, niece.
Yeah, niece.
Oh, it's right, because his sister we never really see.
We never meet the sister, but it is the sister's daughter.
Yeah, it's weird. It was just a weird little note that they literally never show her. Like we literally have her in a shot, and then like her face is covered. It's just like,
Yeah.
why is she a mystery? She's supposed to be someone.
Well,
Okay.
It's very Eastern storytelling where
Yeah.
it's like this character isn't important or relevant.
Do
so
not
we're not
worry about
gonna
it.
we're not gonna draw
Yeah.
her. Oh, okay. Well, 'cause,
She
like,
wasn't necessary to the story.
mm,
Yeah.
The other thing, if you notice, is, you know, in American or Western storytelling, and I learned this all from JPG, so if I'm wrong, blame him.
Cool.
But it's a lot of like, we're gonna force feed you this information you need.
Yeah.
It took a long time to figure out who Maria was connected to. Right? It was like,
Yeah.
who is this kid? Is this his sister? Is there, you know, there's a female voice. Is the mom a lesbian and that was her wife or girlfriend or significant other in some way? I mean, there's no explanation until it becomes relevant.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it
we're
really is
not
one of
used
those.
to that. We're used to, here's everybody, here's all their information, here's everything you need to know. Feed. Okay, now let's tell a story. And we didn't get that. And
Yeah. There's no time for a family dinner exposition scene. Oh, so I
Right.
can't believe that your sister's finally back with her husband. Here's your date. It's like, okay, we're not gonna have that. It's like, here's these people. Don't worry about it.
they're not important.
Don't worry.
And then we have, because we're still on the one family, we have mom and we have grandma.
oh,
So-
with Shoko's family.
With Shoko's
Yeah,
family.
Shoko's
right.
family.
We haven't even left Shoko's family yet.
yeah,
so
we
the
have.
dynamic is all female. What?
No, we
We
haven't.
didn't.
Never mind.
Yeah, we went on a tangent. That's not the same thing as leaving.
Yeah, I was like, no, we've moved on. No.
No, we just have no focus.
Huh? What?
So let's talk about the family dynamic we see here.
Yeah, we see like it's a mother who has had to protect her daughter for pretty much the entire time her daughter was born. Since like day one, she's had to like fight people. Like you can see, she's ready to fight. Like she's ready to fight. There's even a possible altercation between Shoko's mother and her. Because
I didn't know if that was real or not.
Definitely. There was blood on her ear,
Yeah.
and if that was not
word
I
earring.
ripped your earring out, I don't know
Yeah.
what was.
Yeah, that was like a you just done everything. I hate your son. What? You know, and like you can tell that there was that's Shoko's mom.
So for
she
everyone at
has to
home,
fight.
that scene when you see the mom bloodied,
Yeah,
when you see Shoya's mom bloodied, it is a second. It's very fast. It's very quick. That's why when I watched it, I assumed it was Shoya imagining that's what his mom looked like, because she was like apologizing. She was on the ground.
So there's another flashback that he has later of that day, and it's zoomed in on her ear. And if you notice, there's like a line down the bottom of her ear, and that's what it looks like when an earring gets ripped out.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that
it's
might
like,
just be
ooh.
a female thing because I've seen it. But
It could be. I don't know.
But in that moment, it looks like the mom was ready to fight. Like, if I can't knock your kid out, I can knock you out. Like, oh,
Yeah.
And this is a mother who's fighting to protect her child. Her child who is going through a lot of tough stuff. That, I mean, what else can she do except fight? And be ready to fight at a moment's notice.
It seems like the mom took over, like you're saying, the protective role, and then the grandma took the nurturing part.
Yeah.
Because she was very, like, the two young girls were definitely super close to their grandma. And you see that at the dinner scenes of just the tea and having like just the smiles.
and I wonder if that's because of good cop, bad cop, right? Like, it's easy to be. I'm not saying grandma's done anything wrong, right? She was definitely there for her in a way she should have been. But at some point, you have to have a parent, right? And a parent has to be hard and tough and say no when we don't want them to. And we don't see a dad in this picture.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to be like, oh, the mom kind of sucks. And in some ways she does. And I talk about that on Dungeon, so I won't go into that too much here. But in some ways she definitely does suck. But in other ways, I think part of it is just somebody has to be bad cop.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what happens too if you're always vigilant. If you're always waiting for something bad to happen to your daughter, you're not going to be in a good mood all the time. You're going to be constantly waiting waiting for something to go wrong. She's always in fight or flight. She's chosen fight. And that's what she has to do. She has to keep his family together. She's got a daughter who keeps taking pictures of dead things. That's a concerning thing.
Well,
so she's like, it keeps stacking up.
We can't forget that the reason why Yuzuru was able to get close to Shoya and see his family and all that was because Yuzuru ran away.
Yeah, over shampoo.
Yeah, well, it's because the sister fight got intense, and you can only assume that the mom has to work ridiculous hours and is barely home. So the home dynamic is just the two little girls, and then the grandmother, who probably is very tired because she's old. I'm not that old, but I'm tired enough. I can only imagine. There's lots of naps being taken, the JPG level of naps being taken, all of that stuff.
Called out.
So
you're comparing JPG to an old grandmother. Okay.
I was like, are we editing this out? Is this staying in? Am I about to get some angry emails from JPG?
You're probably about to get some angry emails from JPG.
All right, you heard it here. Nicole thinks that JPG is an old grandmother. Okay. Let's dig that grave.
I just wish he was the one that gave me cookies every time I visited the house. That would be nice.
That would be nice, yeah.
He gives you tacos. Is that not enough?
Are they cookies, Alex?
God, Cole, you are ungrateful. You're getting tacos, and you just might as well spit in the face of a taco giver. Oh my god.
What
kids these days, right, JBG?
I was gonna be like, I know, right? And I was gonna be like, oh my god, I'm caught. He's on the air. This was a trap. This is danger. Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger. So we have the dynamic there. And I think the sister's story ends up really beautiful. As funny as she is, as weird as she is sometimes, I think we find that even though she's not the focus, she has her own fears and her own anxieties and her own depression, which stab you in the heart.
And they're really good ones, because she has a very intimate knowledge of her sister's mental state. And, you can ask anyone, even if you suspect if someone might be getting suicidal, and you've tried to talk about it, what's left? What do you have left? And when you do everything you can, and this poor girl who's younger has had to carry the weight of her sister's life on her shoulders because she feels she's it. Well, she doesn't see her sister having any other friends. That's why I think she reaches out so, just pretty quickly to what a guy who was a bully, but seems like he cares. And at this point, please, anybody care, because my mom's not noticing.
I don't think it was quickly the reaching out.
It wasn't, but
she was caught in the rain without shoes, and he was being incredibly selfless. The complete opposite of the boy she grew up hating.
Yeah.
So, that's why
even his words. I think his words in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, because it goes back to when you've gone through it, you understand, and that's where he was when he was doing with the X's on his face. He understood someone who wanted to commit suicide. He understood someone who felt all alone. He was able to be there.
The opposite, though. I think she heard it. I think she heard her sister in that moment. I think she recognized the tone, the attitude, the I don't deserve this. I think she could hear it, and I think she could feel it, and I think that was the moment.
I was like, whoa, okay, that sounds very familiar.
Well, there was one thing I was very appreciative with Yuzuru, and it was she never, at least narrative-wise, she never grew a crush on Shoya, and there was never the jealousy of, you like my sister, but I like him.
Yeah.
That would have been very American Western storytelling. You're right.
Yeah, would have been.
Right? Yeah, that would have been the most Western storytelling thing ever that we didn't have.
Yeah, and I was it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, thank God. Mostly because this movie had so much to deal with. I was like, having her have a crush on him would just feel out of place.
Now we are already 40 minutes in. So somehow we're gonna have to wrap this up soon. So we kind of just touched a little bit on his family dynamic. But I also want to touch on the friend group, if we
Yeah.
could, and just let people experience the family. I guess you're going to have to catch it in the movie. Because we have an interesting dynamic, right? At the end of this, you have our two main characters that we've already discussed, the little sister that we've already discussed, the best friend of Shoko, which I believe is Sarah, I think. And then you still have another bully who, unlike our main character, is continued to be a bully.
Well, her story was, I found her story incredibly captivating when it was the camera that was on recording, because as little sister is still protective, even though she gave her the camera, she wanted to know what would happen if she wasn't
Genius
around.
Move, by the way.
Yeah.
What?
But the what?
It was the most genius move.
Yeah, I was smart.
But the Ferris wheel where the classmate
Naoka.
Naoka, thank you.
Yeah.
Where Naoka was just speaking the truth.
Her truth.
Speaking her
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah,
And
that's a good definition there.
You gotta clarify.
Yeah, no, it's perfect because her truth had such an interesting bias. The way she remembers the past is such a unique defense mechanism kind of thing, where she just was like, you're the reason my childhood sucked, because when you showed up, everything went wrong. And it's like, you understand everything went wrong because of horrible reactions you guys were as kids. Like, as Nathan said in the beginning of this podcast, kids are monsters. And like, that's the reason why everything went wrong. And because she was unwilling to put blame on herself or acknowledge that, she was stuck hating, I don't want to say hating the victim, but basically hating the victim.
Yeah, it was a defense mechanism really of her to go like, no, we weren't bad. We were just kids, and it's all your fault that, it's very selfish and very strange self-editing the past to make it like, oh, no, we were just having fun, and you just took it out of like proportion. Like,
yeah, we tried being nice to you by saying no, we don't want to write in your notebook, but you just kept showing up.
Yeah,
and for me, one of the most heartbreaking scenes is when Shoya learns how to do sign language, and he does the "Will you be my friend?" and he does the same holding of the hand moment, and then that's when he goes, "Oh my god, that's what you were trying to say," and I'm like, "Oh, the feels."
I think that's such a great way to highlight victim blaming, though. I mean, we see it all the time. We see it in real life, right? And this was such a beautiful way to show, like, this girl just doesn't get it. It's still about her and her world and her experiences, and she hasn't seen the other side.
Yeah,
he has, because he was on it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And in a way, too, like, she thinks she can also tells herself that she's helping make Shoka stronger by holding her accountable. Like, for, you see, these things went bad because you did these things, and it's a strange thing that what Naoka says is really echoing what's going on in Shoka's head all the time. Like, all of that self-loathing, Naoka's voicing it in a way. Shoka agrees. That's what makes it so painful. It's like, stop saying things she agrees to.
Yes, yeah. It's painful and dangerous.
Oh, yeah, incredibly dangerous. And for the record, I still don't think Naoka ever got what she deserves.
No,
that's a Western thing, but I'm like, no, she needed a good smackdown. Like, maybe not physically, but I want to show it. Like,
still allowed to hang out with them.
Yeah, I was like, ew. Yeah, I was like, so anyway, I don't know if that's like just a Western standpoint. I was like, there was never any kind of like closing of that. It was like, hey, you're a jerk, like, leave us. Or,
but you know what I will say is kind of interesting is she chose to hang out with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
yeah,
it's been how long? Where's her group of friends? And so as much as she's a terrible person, part of me wonders if she doesn't have anybody else, and the things that she was saying were things that she was feeling in her own head, and she's projecting it on this other person.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what?
wow, yeah, shoot.
I mean, it's possible just because when she saw him when he came into her work, she hid in fear. She didn't want him to
Or
see
shame.
her. Yeah. So it just makes you wonder, like, yeah, she acted hard, she acted like any stereotypical bully, but because like apparently because it's Eastern storytelling and I didn't understand that was part of Eastern storytelling of if it's not useful to the story, just don't throw it in. Maybe her family dynamic also wasn't the strongest or the greatest.
Yeah.
And that's what, and that's a good thing, good point to bring out is like the more we know about these two characters, the less we really do know about the others or what makes them who they are. And that's a question to always ask yourself about why are these people the way they are? Well, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg for a lot of these people.
Yeah, that's great to take into real life. We see what's in front of us, but we could be missing everything happening in the back.
Yeah. Well, especially since 80% of them being on screen, there's a giant X over their face.
Yep.
So you can't really connect to them, which is also incredibly brilliant because since we are seeing this through Shoya's eyes, like you're not, he's not letting himself connect, so you can't connect, which just goes back to the iceberg thing that Nathan said. Like, it's just, this film was so brilliant. It's not fair.
Okay, well, I was going to ask for a final thought, but I guess I got Cole's.
Oh, no, that's not my final thought.
I'll let Nathan go first.
Well, for the final thought of the movie is it's bad people don't concern themselves about being good people. They don't concern about themselves at all. They do what they do and they go on happy as they ever were. Like good people tear themselves apart, go over old conversations. And that's, I strive to hope that I'm a good person. And a lot of these things hit hard because as a kid, I was a jerk because I was a kid. I didn't know better. I didn't have empathy. I didn't have those lessons. And a lot of this stuff hit really hard. And you look back and I looked back in my own life and just cringed at a lot of times where I say something off the cuff that should have really probably hurt somebody, and knowing I've hurt people in my life, and then every day trying not to do that again. And this movie really, really dredged up old memories of that, old feelings of just like, am I really a good person, or am I like Shoya, where there's a bit of selfishness to his need for redemption. And he needs it, of course, because it's either redemption or he's going to kill himself. Like those matters start building in there. But, as a person, if we are striving to be good people, at what point are we good? And you think also nature and this whole society right now, it's cancel culture. Like Shoya would not be forgiven in cancel culture. He would be, nope, you're done. And you're done for the rest of your life. There's never anything about you can't be forgiven, which is like, that's insane.
So dangerous.
People can't live like that to not be able to forgiven,
Because if I can't be forgiven, then why bother?
Then yeah, exactly. And that leads down a really dark path of like, well, if I can't be forgiven, then I should enjoy myself and stop worrying. And we need a culture, we need a society that worries about doing the right thing. And this really connects to just not how you treat everyone in your life. We have, figures of authority, police, who are just, they have a power, and are they wielding it wisely? And are they concerned about the outcome? And these questions bring up that a lot. And I really loved how this movie really, really points out that, yes, he did a bad thing. We're going to show you what he did. And you're going to think he's just despicable. But the person he is now isn't that person. So who are we still angry at? And it's just a really good movie for that. And also it puts energy and a feeling of redemption to Shoko, who did nothing wrong. But still, if you can't really, if you're not going to blame God, then who else do you blame? You blame yourself. And that's how we should all look at people and make sure that they're not alone in these very, 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 very lonely times right now. And this movie, 5 stars and five crying stars. This is good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how we're supposed to say anything after that, but
it's like I got you, so you'll sound smarter at the end.
Thank you.
This is definitely 5 crying stars. This movie definitely on top of everything that Nathan said, because this movie hits you so hard in so many different ways. To take everything that Nathan just said in that beautiful monologue, and then also take into account that it does tell you you matter. You're not a bother just because you feel that you are a burden to others, and everything that you do just seems to make everyone that you care about their lives that much harder. It's not. You bring so much joy, you bring so much um color to everyone's world. And that's where the whole Shoko storyline is important, because it's, yeah, she's going through struggles and she's strong, but she's stronger than she knows, and she lights up the world for people who don't know it. With Shoya saying, "Show me how to live," and Shoko is just in shock because she never thought anyone would ask that. It was, and then he gets embarrassed by saying it too. But it's just this, like, that aspect also is incredible to take into account with this movie. Like, you are important, and I can't say that enough for anyone at home who's listening to this and is definitely like, well, not me or not me. Just, you are important. You bring joy to someone. You may not know it, but you do, and that's the Shoko aspect. You connect with that character. So,
I'm gonna
5
add
crying
in,
stars.
I'm gonna add in that nobody's alone. You might think you're the only one struggling with mental health, or struggling to be happy, or struggling to want to be here. And I think it's important to know that you're not the only one feeling that way, that those feelings are sometimes normal or natural. And, there's reasons that there's help hotlines, and it's because people want you to be here, and that there is another side to this, right? We saw two people struggle, and one made the choice to see what's on the other side. One got lucky enough that someone made that choice for her, but both found happiness on the other side, because there is another side to all of it. So please, if you're struggling, there's hotlines, there's websites, there's therapy. And I can tell you from somebody who went to therapy, who goes to therapy, it helps. It helps for somebody to just be like, oh yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that. You're not alone in this world. So just know that everybody's dealing with some kind of pain, and some of us might mask it with a smile, and some of us might not. But it doesn't mean that you're alone in this world, and there are people out there who want you to be here. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Guiding your next pop culture journey, this has been an episode of In Quest of Geeks Tavern Team Edition.
Please check out our weekly Dungeon Dive and Tavern Team episodes on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any other podcatchers. And make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe.
If you'd like even more adventures with us, our bi-weekly actual play RPG is in the same feed under Issues, where you can listen to us play as teen superheroes using the Masks A New Generation system.
Please follow us on social media at In Quest of Geek, and don't forget to subscribe to our weekly Twitch streams at twitch.tv/In Quest of Geek.
As we bring this adventure, a study in personal pain and how to overcome it, what are we in these adventures of life? Is pain adventure? Anyways, as we bring this adventure to a close, here's what you can expect from our next episode.
So it's not going to be all crying and tears every time. This is especially unique. Normally, the level of depth that we get over here is for Dungeon Dive, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll hate mail to Alix.
And our mutual friend
who this
one.
Boo, the mutual friend. Anyway, next week we will be covering the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale.
Wait, you said we weren't gonna cry anymore. Finale.
Actually, I don't think we're gonna be crying in the finale the same way that we were crying in this one.
Okay.
Spoilers, I'm behind.
That's fine. I'm just saying I'm not expecting a Marvel movie to make me cry, without the words "I am Iron Man" being uttered.
That didn't make me cry anyway, so that's fine.
Oh, you monster! Anyway, that's next week. So definitely catch up is on Disney Plus if you want to watch along with us. But yeah, next week.
And thank you for listening, Questers. And remember, use what you've learned today to build better character.